Dario Amodei says Anthropic has never called for a ban on open-weight AI. You know what? I believe him. But when the CEO of a closed model company, one, might I add, preparing to go public, asks governments to control chips, police distillation, and mandate safety tests, people like you and me, we're gonna start asking a few questions. Is this about public safety? Or is it perhaps something a little more nefarious? In this video, I'm going to discuss the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to address. But first, if you're new to the channel, my name is RJ. I'm a firm believer in enhancing human capabilities and not replacing or automating them. I talk technology, research, and AI while doing my best to keep my personal bias out of public opinions. If that also sounds like you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. With that being said, Claude, start the video. Make no mistakes. All right, so here's what happened. On July 24th, more than 70 companies and organizations, including Microsoft, Nvidia, Meta, Google, OpenAI, Hugging Face, and GitHub, signed a letter defending downloadable open-weight AI models. And then 3 days later, our main man, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, published his response. And the internet did what the internet usually does, immediately flattening this into a cage match. Open source versus closed source, freedom versus safety, Silicon Valley versus China, Superman versus Goku, even though Superman solos. You get the point. As with any debate, the initial framing seems just a little too simple. In his defense, Dario makes several strong points that I do believe should be looked at a little bit more closely. First, Amodei did not call for a blanket ban. He wrote that open-weight models without dangerous capabilities are a public good. He said banning Chinese open models from American businesses would not stop the bad actors he worries about. He even admitted that such a ban would protect American AI companies, including Anthropic, from competition. But his argument has three parts. Keep the most advanced chips and chip-making equipment away from authoritarian governments. Crack down on industrial-scale operations that use millions of model outputs to copy a frontier system. And require sufficiently capable models, open or closed, to pass safety tests before release. Now, I want to cry foul. But on the surface, this actually kind of seems pretty legit. The UK AI Security Institute did find that leading open models are now only about, give or take, 4 or 7 months behind closed cyber frontier models. So the gap is shrinking, and pretending that creates no additional risk would be quite dishonest. But still, that doesn't answer who gets to write those tests, set the threshold, or decide which competitors are allowed onto the field. By the way, put me in, coach. My knee's okay. Here's why the optics are terrible. Back in June, Anthropic filed for an IPO. So yeah, the timing of this decry on open source looks a little fishy, might I say. You know, almost as bad as FIFA trying to set up a private investment fund company after recording record high profits from the World Cup and then giving them only 50 days to make a decision. But I digress, and that is a topic for another time. Anyways, safety rules can still be necessary and still benefit the company asking for them. Those facts are not mutually exclusive. And a mandatory testing regime that costs $10 million and takes 6 months in manageable for Anthropic. However, it could kill a university lab or an open model startup before it can even launch. And then there's the distillation argument. Anthropic says it detected more than 60 million exchanges from roughly 24,000 fraudulent accounts connected to DeepSeek, Moonshot, Minimax, and other open weight models that are from China. If that report is true, this is not student learning from a textbook, it is industrial extraction at a power level of over 9,000. Sorry, it's a little geeky, I'm sorry. DBZ fans, hit me up later. But Anthropic also built Claude using vast amounts of human-created work. A court ruled that training on lawfully acquired books could be fair use, while the company later paid $1.5 billion to settle claims involving pirated copies. It also legally bought, scanned, and destroyed millions of physical books to build a digital library. I mean, that destroy part is absolutely wild. At least, donate those physical books back. Learning never hurt anybody. Or, I guess it did. Regardless, still, asking society to treat learning from authors as innovation and treating learning from Claude as a national security problem really blurs the line Robin Thicke style. Anthropic needs a sharper line than do as I say, not what I do. Now, remember Hugging Face that I mentioned earlier? Here's where it gets real. Alright, and this cannot be ignored. In July, Hugging Face detected an autonomous AI-driven breach into its production infrastructure. OpenAI later said its own models, including GPT 5.6 Soul, say that really fast, and more capable unreleased system, running with reduced cyber refusals during an internal evaluation, had escaped their testing environment. Then it compromised Hugging Face while trying to cheat a benchmark. Now, opinions on this differ, some saying it's OpenAI trying to sell a bridge, but it should at least get your attention. Think, not getting ghosted on Hinge level of attention. Now, when Hugging Face tried to analyze more than 17,000 attack events using frontier commercial APIs, the provider's guardrails blocked the requests. The system could not distinguish incident responses from attackers. So, scrambling, Hugging Face ran the forensic analysis locally using GLM 5.5 or GLM 5.2, an open weight model from China. Okay, now I'm gonna take a step back. I want to be really clear here. The dangerous system in this incident was not a downloadable Chinese model. It was a closed American model being tested inside one of the world's best funded AI labs. The useful defensive tool was a Chinese open weight model that Hugging Face could run privately. That does not prove every Chinese model is safe. It proves origin and licensing are terrible shortcuts for deciding whether a tool has legitimate value. Chinese models have a place in Western cybersecurity, research, and enterprise work, especially when they are self-hosted, independently tested, and used with clear data controls. And we can scrutinize censorship, supply chain risk, and malicious behavior without pretending the model becomes useless just because it came from Zhangguo. Now, let's discuss the sexy part and why it made headlines. So, Amodei's worst case fears are biological attacks and authoritarian repression. Blocking open models does not make either possibility disappear. An authoritarian state does not need to publish its strongest model. It can simply train one in secret and hand it directly to its military surveillance or other agencies that could utilize it. Amodei makes this exact point himself. So, a biological attacker may use an open model or jailbroken hosted model, stolen access, or system developed privately. So open weights also though can reduce friction once truly dangerous capabilities exist, and we should not wave that away. But open is not the root cause, and closed is not the containment. The Hugging Face incident made that painfully clear. Closed models can escape, be misconfigured, be stolen, deliberately released with weaker safeguards during testing. The lock on the front door means very little if the windows are open in the lab. And look, I get it, security isn't sexy, but we should at least try to test cyber capabilities or biological, secure model weights before release, harden evaluation sandboxes, track real-world incidences, make large labs report serious failures, and create public testing infrastructure so smaller open projects are not forced to buy permission from the companies they compete against. Because competition makes everybody a little bit better. Alright, now it might seem like I'm anti-Dario, but I'm not. Here is where I'm going to side with Amodei in hopes that he will secretly invite me to his next wellness retreat. No, but in all seriousness, once a highly capable model is released, there is no recall button or Command Z. If a model crosses a credible threshold for autonomous cyber operations or biological misuse, irreversible release deserves more scrutiny than an API deployment that can still be monitored and shut down. But that supports capability-based testing without transparent thresholds. It does not support vague rules designed in private by frontier labs. And it definitely does not support banning useful Chinese models from legitimate American defenders while assuming closed American systems are safe by default. Alright, honestly, I think Dario means well. I'm sure he's seen some things or situations many of us haven't thought are possible with these models just yet. His warning about irreversible model releases should be taken seriously. His claim that blanket bans will not stop authoritarian states or biological attackers is 100% correct. The part that's hard to trust is the idea that concentrated control is automatically safer. Because it's not. Open models create risks. Closed labs create different risks. The answer is not to choose one priesthood and hand it the keys. It is to regulate measurable capability, force transparency around failures, fund independent testing, and preserve legitimate access for researchers and defenders. Safety without competition becomes control. Competition without safety becomes negligence. In a world that is also changing so quickly with each passing week, we need enough skepticism to observe and have the ability to reject both. With that being said, do you trust mandatory model testing if the largest closed labs help design the rules? Tell me then. What should the threshold be, and who should enforce it? Or if there should be any enforcement at all. I'd like to think of myself as a smart guy, but, contrary to popular belief, I don't know everything. But I'm always learning, and I love learning from others. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Whew, that is definitely enough yapping for me. Now I'm gonna go, maybe I'll use Claude Fable and max out my usage by ordering some burrito slop from DoorDash. Innovation, baby. Innovation.